Warning: the following audiobook contains strong languages and situations that some viewers may find disturbing. This includes fighting, violence, threats, and other scenarios of that nature. Viewer discretion is advised. Chapter 2. Will I ever see the light again? The two figures marched swiftly to meet the large door. Its frame bore intricate old English tracings, its decoration now dusted and lackluster. It measured 3 times their size, its tall, half-draped in heavy, worn velvet curtains. Kinoshi stilled her nerves and opened it. Inside laid nothing more than a college dorm room, papers scattered to every crevice, their purpose blind to any outsiders, food piled up against the wall, in the form of scraps on expired Tupperware. A woman stood in the middle, unkempt and staring, her small 4'5" body framed by her spiked and messy hair, her locks spalled down, leading anyone's eyes to the thick black tail wrapped around her own leg. It wriggled to life and flared. "What do you need?" The woman sneered. The figures stiffened as the woman approached them, her tan skin coming into view from the dark abyss. The thick curtains ripped off every window seen in front of her. "It better be good news," she continues, putting a hand on her hip, using her free one to point between the two. Kino stiffened. A noise slipped from her lips. The woman goes closer still. "I sent you because I was busy. If I must do your job too, there'll be hell to pay. And you know how much I don't like being pissed. Right, Kino?" she elaborated, suddenly gripping onto Kino's blonde locks.
"That's enough, Master! We didn't find anything, okay?"
Kinoshi blurted, her scarlet face threatening to contort into a black hole. Master rolled her eyes. "Of course. I'm sorry I lost my temper. It may or may not happen again," she squeezed out before letting go of Kino's hair. "It's just I have a theory about what could be hurting the world. If I'm right, the world is dead. My cushy job is gone, and I must fight." Master flicked the small black speck from Kino's cheek, licking it off her fingers. Master's face contorted in disgust. "Oh yeah, I know this taste. Leave me now. If you attempt to bother me, just read over the Soviet books I gave you. They're modern and great at explaining it all." Master goes back inside, the door slamming, threatening to crush the duo. Kinoshi quickly grabs Kino and pulls her back. Thank you," the blonde meekly said. Kinoshi paid no mind, her teeth threatening to crack from the pressure. A sudden ring begins to force her to her knees. Her cries of pain are planning to shatter the glass and eardrums nearby. "Kinoshi?" Kino exclaims before kneeling and holding her close. Her body reflects the red glow emanating from Kinoshi's wrist. "Please, calm down. She knows you feel this way. She's just trying to get a rise out of you." Kino comforts, nuzzling face into the other's neck. Kinoshi's hands threatened to shove her away. Before approaching her neck, they lingered, mere inches from it. The ringing called louder, causing her hands to shake. It echoed, the oblivious blonde continuing with her actions. The raven-haired woman growled, struggling to get her arms to go closer. Then they paused. She hugged Kino close, her body trembling fiercely.
"It's all right, Kino. Thank you for being here for me,"
she said shakingly. As the door slammed, the ringing began in my ears. I tried to cover them as I looked to make sure that the thick curtains were fastened safely on my windows. From behind the door, I could hear their interaction. I hated when I saw these mockeries. All I felt was anger. I flinched, the throbbing headache coming back. I was irritated. I was beyond livid at this world. I paced back in my room. My ears twitched at the shifting of papers. I wanted to gag as my nerves went into overdrive within the dark, mostly quiet room. I became more agitated as I walked to my plain desk, my fangs bared. No matter what I did, it always seemed too loud. I couldn't even watch over Blake without interruptions. I knew he took the thing from the crater, yet those things couldn't even tell me the truth to my face. In a swift motion, it flashed white in my mind and all things were on the floor. My desk, not only bearing my taped calendar. I took a deep breath and crossed off 34 days in the calendar. It wasn't my fault that Blake was hard to read. It is not my fault that every second of every day of my life, I always seem to be outed. I kneeled to pick up the scraps of paper off the floor, looking around for anything to get them out of my sight. My eyes met a drawer brimming with folded cotton paper. I flung it open and pressed the pages down. The cabinet threatened to collapse as I growled. It just wouldn't stay down, as I heard cracking and buckling. I slammed the container shut before I punched the buttons of my nearby TV on. I needed anything I could to get my mind off of this. I stepped over a discarded sheet as I approached my Alaskan king bed, its gilded gold pillars chipping and scratched along the middle. I slip under the cheap thin covers as I peek out at the foot of the bed. I watched the small cartoons on the HTV. Its volumes flashed on the screen due to an error I refused to fix. 8. I pouted. I never liked the volume at 8. I reached out, trying my best not to fall out of the bed as I pressed until the number went down to 6. I returned to my place, watching yellow squares and purple stars flash on screen, like the night sky. In a universe where bears could speak and the moon would sing, the sun would smile on a new morning, and life could be happy. The screen fizzled. I didn't mind when it did that, though. I liked how it felt so familiar to me. I was content to drift away into this nice fantasy. It wasn't my job to relax, though. I gathered myself, as I couldn't just relax one more day. It felt wrong to just lay here alone and sad. I had to help someone, no matter how small. People were so small and weak. How could they even help themselves when they lacked the knowledge to create better products? I didn't get out much to notice their technology, but my point still stood. I reached out and pressed again. The news. The worst part of my day. It always was so sad. If it wasn't sad, it was fake happy, with canned smiles and lifeless eyes that could make me gag. They never talked about the important stories. It's not like they could. I stopped the creatures before they could. The current scene was breaking news. The local water supply was tainted with too much dye. I rolled my eyes. These stories were boring. I stood and began to walk out of my calming space. As I approached the doorknob, I paused. No, I wouldn't tell them I was leaving. Why would I have to? It's my house. In an instant, I was in a small city. I peered down from the rooftops I was on. The men and women walked round, paying no mind to me. Why was it that the city people cared the least about each other? On the TV, they screamed. They accepted everyone, but it was rarely the case in person. I wonder how long it would take before I needed to help them. I rubbed my hand along the edge of the roof. Its rough concrete keeps my attention as I allow my nails to sharpen and grow. I flex my fingers and watch my claws scratch at the surface. I'm mesmerized by the feeling. I've seen cats scratch things, but I'm always in awe about how good it feels. I begin to purr, my black tail lifting and puffing up. Then there's multiple instances of heavy breathing across the city. My ear twitches as I try to focus on the closest one. I squinted through the darkness. I was suddenly aware of the fall to my process. There was too much noise. The blinding lights and crowds of people ignoring the pain happening. I covered my upper vision. I knew they were close. I took my necklace and tucked it into my shirt. I didn't need it swinging as I ran. I rushed quickly, jumping down and running into the crowd. I know this wasn't due to exhaustion. They were in trouble. Running on foot made me feel like a hero. As I pushed through the crowd, I ignored the complaints of people as I pushed them away. The more I pressed onwards, the more I could hear it. I quickly wrapped my tail around my waist, the thick must of sweat and various perfumes permeating deeply into my soul as I pushed more. I found the crevice and pulled out to see a young woman screaming and struggling with a beer-soaked man. I went behind him and wrapped my arms around his armpits and pulled him up against me. With the force, he let go of the purse he was stealing. He struggled fiercely, calling me slurs, as his ragged figure pulled and fought against mine. I smelled it. He wasn't drunk. Sometimes human could be so cruel. "Run!" I shouted at the woman, yet she ignored me. She backed up in shock at the sight. It was only then I realized it began to tip in the opposite favor. People began to film and I froze. The man I was holding began to scream.
Let go of me, you crazy bitch. Help! She's hurting me! Ah, she's gonna kill me!
My eyes widened. How dare he play the victim when he wanted to hurt this woman? How dare people not care until someone stepped in? Why am I scared they'll believe him? They can't believe him. It was his fault. I was just helping. I backed up as he began to lay in a fetal position, while the woman was gone. I glanced around. The crowd grew and towered over me. I meant to protect you. I meant to help. My teeth bared out of instinct. Why was I scared? I could end them in a heartbeat. My breath quickened and I ran off. I needed to leave. I needed to go now. I was gone. I fell to my knees and clenched my left breast. My heart was beating. But I wasn't close to death. Please don't let them believe him. Please. I looked at the ground. It was solid and stable for me, when nothing else was. I kept my breathing deep. It's usually never like this. Why did people surround me then? Why did he lie in his screams? It all made me sick. It made me angry. I looked around the smaller roof I was on now. Everything was so intimate and tiring. I crossed slowly to the edge and watch. My back arches as the scary man walks into a local liquor store. He's covered up and scary. I never trusted masks. They cover up the face and make you look like a criminal. I stiffened before I could hiss as he pulls out an angle. I've seen those plenty of times, but for some reason, I can only think of calling it a death angle. I positioned to leap down to help. The bullets sting, but they don't kill me. I pause. The elderly, frail man, positioned behind the register, reaches behind him. This wasn't a button. He pulled out his own death angle, causing the dangerous man to leave. I purr slightly at the sight. I've never seen these interactions in person, but I like how it ended. It brings me joy when humans don't need me, when they can protect themselves, each other, when they help in any way. It meant I could rest on the rooftop and look at the stars. The world is in at rest, but I can't help everyone. I'll do what I can, but it'll be up to the people when I'm gone. I don't think they're ready, but I can't fight demons to stop this from happening all the time. I smell some juicy meat in the air. The carnivore in me flares as I drool, starting to pour out of the corner of my mouth. I patted my pockets. I smiled at the realization I had had enough. I was allowed to be selfish one night. I stopped to purse Steve, and no matter what, I wouldn't let the thought of people believing him ruin my nice hot dog meal. I looked around before finding a nice place to slide down. The intimate alleyway was very dingy, but homey. I could walk between them without being judged. I followed the steps the humans do when buying one. As I attempted to reach Blake, I frowned as I pay. He was too close to the witch for me to read him. I walked off, getting some useless inked paper before eating on the roof. Why did she know how to block me too? I wanted to watch him sleep and know he's okay. He is a strong artifact I need, so why doesn't he message me? I stiffened and pat my pants. I ran through all the avenues. I didn't feel it in the large city, so it couldn't be here either. It had to be home. It's no wonder he hasn't messaged me, because I'd know if he did. I smile and fade back to the discarded phone of my cabinet. I stumbled to hold it up straight in my hand, the other hand currently shoving the hot dog deeper into my mouth as I purred contently. The bright screen revealed a selfie between me and Blake. It was taken when we were still together. I purr deeper as I see his happy, wrinkled face as he holds me closer. I was so confused, but I trusted as he took the picture. What I didn't see was any messages obscuring it. I swallowed the hot dog and stopped my vibrations. I wiped my mouth and jumped onto the bed and slumped against it. He told me we'd stay friends, but he only seemed to message me when he needed something. I didn't want to believe that, but the thought wormed into my mind like an infection. I set the phone down and stared at the blank wall. Was he resting too? Would he need me? I'd jump out across the universe if he needed me. Isn't it normal for friends? I was doing a good job, right? I don't want to be like those clingy women online. I sighed as I tried to calm down. I need to savor these moments of silence, because once the world sets in motion, I'd never find peace again. I feel useless, though, and I feel this loneliness will slowly convince me of crazy things. Will 1 + 1 equal raccoon to me soon? I allow my eyes to close. I do not rest, but my eyes feel cooler now. I steady my breathing. It'll be okay. Ah, jeez. This is gonna be the most unrefined thing ever. Sorry, it's been a little while. I've been a little busy with life and school, I'm pretty sure you understand. I really hope you enjoy. As, well, we're a little behind schedule. I do plan on getting everything finished. It just needs to be polished and put together. Rest assured, all lines have been recorded, so nothing like that's going to delay anything. I would severely and sincerely, I'm not editing this, I'm sorry. Sincerely thank all of the voice actors that helped me. I think there was 3. So the first one is Austin Moet. His casting call club's going to be down below. He's very, very talented. I swear you guys need to hire him. He's amazing. Very, very very, very great person to work with. Next one will be Bree Frankel. They're amazing. They brought a new life into Kinoshi that I didn't think I could pull out myself, actually. And, well, they'll be in future chapters as well. As well as Austin. Last is the person who made all this possible, this mixing with my terrible audio, putting it together with the music. I call him Zimbabwe, but his casting call is listed as Waves and Phase. Perfect guy. Will be helping us and has been helping me since chapter 1. The only thing I've actually recorded was chapter 0. It shows, though. I hope you guys follow us for this amazing journey and continue to maybe follow us in the future for any sequels that we may be putting together. Well, I'll see you next time, guys.